Hi, my name is Natasha Wu, and I am an infant development specialist and early interventionist working for Life Steps Foundation in the Bay Area in Northern California. I am here to talk a little bit about social emotional development and provide you with a few resources that will hopefully be helpful. So this particular presentation is focusing on children who are 3 and under. So that's 36 months and under. What is social emotional development? Social emotional development is its own domain in the world of child development. So similar to how language and physical gross motor development each have their own domain, so does social emotional development. Social and emotional development means how children start to understand who they are, what they are feeling, and what to expect when interacting with others. It is the development of being able to form and sustain positive relationships, experience, manage, and express emotions, explore, and engage with the environment. This particular definition is from Help Me Grow California. Check out more local resources on this topic at their website, which is helpmegrowsmc.org. You might be familiar with milestone skills for other areas, such as the gross motor milestone skills of standing, rolling over, walking. Well, social emotional development has its own milestones. This is not a complete list. It is just a list of a few that are important and that you might already be familiar with. Babies between the ages of 2 and 4 months will begin to laugh. An infant between the ages of 5 to 7 months will begin responding to their own name. They might turn their head towards the speaker. They might just move their eyes towards the speaker. They might give a little wriggle. They'll start responding. Notice that each milestone has a range. There is no perfect age for an infant or toddler to reach a milestone. There's always a range of where it's appropriate. Your child might fall at the beginning, they might fall at the end, they might fall in the middle, they might skip a milestone and then go back to one, and that's okay. We expect a child to be comfortable exploring his or her environment by the time they are 9 to 12 months. This means that they're willing to sort of separate from their parent or caregiver by a little bit and start to investigate, what's over there by the couch? What's in that box? Maybe I should open this cabinet. And they'll still usually kind of turn and reference their caregiver. They're not totally leaving and, never looking back. Back and forth play begins around 12 to 15 months. We're going to talk a little bit more about back and forth play later in the presentation, but the easiest way to explain it is rolling a ball back and forth. It requires 2 people. It requires an infant or toddler to interact with a familiar person. A child should begin identifying themselves in the mirror by the time they're about 15 to 17 months. And anywhere between 18 to 24 months, which you'll see is quite a big range, they'll start using their own name or a nickname to refer to themselves. We expect a child to start showing a wide variety of emotions at this time too. And what we mean by a wide variety is not just concrete emotions like crying when they're sad or hitting when they're frustrated. We expect them to be able to communicate with their facial expressions and their gestures and maybe their tone of voice, more nuanced feelings such as joy, fear, guilt, etc. Parallel play begins around the same time too. Young children don't really play with each other in the way that older children do, but they will play near each other and engage with the same type of toys and occasionally look over and reference each other. Say there's a big pile of Legos and each child has their own sort of smaller pile of Legos, and occasionally they look over and they might grab one, but really they're still engaged with their own stuff. We don't really expect to see too much pretend play until a child reaches 2 years old, and that's when they might start dramatizing with a doll or an animal. Once a child gets closer to 3, around 2.5, they may begin to struggle with transitions, and they may be very resistant to change. You might have heard the term terrible twos or that your child is becoming a three-nager. That's where this fits in. And while it's not always the most comfortable scenario for parents to have to deal with, it is actually a milestone and shows that your child is developing appropriately. There are certain times of day or scenarios in children's life where they may struggle a little bit more with regulating their emotions. It's good to be aware of these times so that you can kind of troubleshoot and head them off at the pass. We just talked about transitions. Transitions can be hard for any age. And when I say a transition, I mean the moving from one location to the other or the moving of one activity to the other. Certain times of day. One obvious one is being dropped off at daycare or a babysitter, that time of day where they leave the care of their parent or family member and end up in the care of someone else. Even if that person is wonderful and they're familiar with them, they still might become upset. Bedtime, meal times, and having to leave an activity they particularly enjoy, such as the park, can sometimes be very difficult for young children. Unfamiliar environments, such as the doctor's office, a friend or family member's home that you don't usually visit, somewhere like an airport, can be very confusing and overstimulating for young children. They're experiencing a lot of sights and sounds that are different, and they might become a little bit extra emotional during these times. After a big change at home, such as moving house, the birth of a sibling, a parent going back to work, a divorce, or the death of a pet. These are all times where you might notice that your child is struggling. And I don't just mean your child will voice that they're having a hard time. Even very young children can pick up on change and might seem a little out of sorts. Hopefully in the rest of this presentation, we will be able to provide you with some tools to help deal with these sort of more difficult situations. We couldn't really move on without talking about the unique challenges that we face in 2020. Young children are faced with people wearing masks. And while masks are wonderful and help keep us healthy, they're also a little strange. And your child may be resistant. When they see people in masks, they may become frightened. It's a little different these days in terms of playing with peers. At the park, there might not be any friends there. Your daycare center might be closed. That's tough for little ones to deal with and gives them less time to practice with other children their own age. You and your children might be missing family members or friends that you used to visit all the time, and unfortunately in recent months haven't been able to see very much. And you as a parent or caregiver might be feeling some additional stress from working from home or dealing with any of the other work-related issues that have come up in 2020. Just because you don't speak to your young child about these stresses doesn't mean they don't feel it a little bit. They will be able to sense when things are a little off with you, and they might react accordingly. And that's okay. Families can deal with these stresses together. The best way for a young child to meet their social, emotional, developmental milestones is to learn the skills through play. Play is the work of young children. It is how young children learn. Very young children are a little too young to truly pretend, but that doesn't mean you can't present them with pretend play scenarios or realistic props for them to interact with. And that way, model and build the skills so that as they get a little bit older, they can start to act out the pretend play scenarios for themselves. Some types of pretend play or realistic play with props that can help young children deal with their emotions are working through specific scenarios like medical play. The doctor's office is scary, but if you have a doctor's kit or even just Band-Aids and a paper towel at home, you can act out what to do if someone gets a boo-boo, what to do if somebody doesn't feel well. What will happen if it's time to go and get a shot? You can use a stuffed animal, or you can have your child pretend to do these things to you and model that it's okay to cry when you get a shot and it's okay to be scared and ask for a hug. You can use dolls and animals. Maybe the dolls and animals are hungry. Maybe they're thirsty. Maybe they're tired. Use the dolls and animals to work through everyday scenarios and everyday sensations and feelings that your child might experience. A toy kitchen. Mealtime is hugely important and happens every day. And understanding when they're hungry, when they're thirsty is important for young children. You can talk about making healthy food to take care of people and to take care of our bodies. You can encourage young children to pretend to share their food, whether it's pretend or real. Sharing is caring. Books and videos. There are a lot of great resources out there for social emotional learning in terms of books and videos. I'm going to share just a few of my favorites, but again, this is by no means an exhaustive list, and I encourage you to do your own research if you're interested in finding more that are out there. Some of my favorite authors in terms of social emotional development are Martina Gassi, who has written a whole series that includes Hands Are Not for Hitting, Anna Yanis, who's written another several books, including The Color Monster, which is about emotions. Todd Parr, a specific book that's excellent for toddlers is the Feelings book. And Leslie Petrocelli. And we're actually going to read one of her books together later called Baby Happy, Baby Sad. Books are great because they give you an opportunity to talk through and label emotions that people feel in their everyday lives. Some more general book ideas are looking for books that include pictures of people's faces. And I mean real pictures, not just cartoons, although cartoons are great. This way, your child will be familiar with seeing a variety of different faces and seeing how different emotions look on different people's faces. Books about situations, again, such as going to the doctor or moving. And if you have a very young child, I encourage you to get these books in board books, the cardboard ones, so that very young children can turn the pages without worrying about them sticking together or getting ripped. And this way they can explore by themselves, even if they're too young to really know what the story is. And that's okay. Some other favorite online resources that I would like to recommend that do include videos are first5california.com, which includes excellent resources for parents with infants, and Sesame Street in Communities.org, which is excellent for toddlers. There you will find activity ideas for social emotional development, some videos, and some games even on the Sesame Street one. They have a variety of different toolkits for dealing with specific scenarios and mitigating big feelings. Okay, let's try out some of these play scenarios that help with social emotional learning together. First, we're going to read Baby Happy, Baby Sad. While I'm reading, I make sure that I change my tone and my facial expressions to match what's happening in the pictures. This helps communicate to very young children what's going on and also helps to keep them engaged. Baby Happy, look, he's smiling. I'm smiling. Can you smile? Baby Sad. Oh, baby sad. He's crying. Baby happy with his kitty. Meow. Bye-bye, kitty. Oh, baby sad. Mine. Baby sad. Baby happy. They're sharing. Ice cream. Baby happy. Uh-oh. Black. Baby sad. Run, 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 run. Baby happy. Boom. Ouch. Oh, baby sad. He's an owie. Oh, baby cries. Baby sad. Oh, baby gets a hug. Baby happy. Baby happy. Baby sad. Baby happy. Baby sad. Baby sad. He doesn't feel well. He feels better. Baby happy. Baby happy. Baby sad. He doesn't want a bath. Uh-oh. Daddy has to go. Baby's sad. He doesn't want him to leave. Daddy comes back. Baby happy. More sad baby. Oh, he looks tired. Oh, he's yelling there. He cries. But this baby is happy. He laughs. The end. Just a reminder, this is one of the authors that I mentioned, Leslie Patricelli. She has a whole series that's really excellent for very young children. Next, we're going to talk about singing. Singing is a great way to engage young children. Singing is very repetitive, and young children really enjoy repetition, and it helps them learn. So don't worry if you're singing the same songs over and over again. It's age appropriate, and you're helping your child learn. So the song I'm going to sing today is If You're Happy and You Know It. In the same way I did with the book, I'm really going to use my tone and my facial expressions to act out what I'm feeling and what I might do if I was feeling that way. Ready, set, go. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're sad and you know it, cry boo-hoo, boo-hoo. If you're sad and you know it, cry boo-hoo, boo-hoo. If you're sad and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're sad and you know it, cry boo-hoo. If you're mad and you know it, stomp your feet, stomp, stomp. If you're mad and you know it, stomp your feet, stomp, stomp. If you're mad and you know it, you really want to show it. If you're mad and you know it, stomp your feet. But if you're happy and you know it, say hooray, hooray. If you're happy and you know it, say hooray, hooray. If you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, say hooray, hooray. Yay! I love singing. We're going to do one more song, but this time we're going to add a little bit of pretend. Those first two activities, reading a book that includes emotions and singing a song that includes emotions, are excellent for children of all ages. Your child is never too young to have you sing or read to them. This next one is for slightly older toddlers who might be starting to do some pretend play. And even if they're not old enough to request pretend play or act out a scenario by themselves, they're old enough to watch you do it and join in with you. So my friend, Mr. Lion, is going to help us. Mr. Lion is feeling very tired. Oh, he's so tired. What should we do to help Mr. Lion? I think he needs to take a nap. He needs a blanket. Or maybe at your house, he needs a pacifier or a pillow. Wrap him up nice and warm in his blanket. Now let's sing him a lullaby, but we have to be very quiet. Let's help Mr. Lion feel comfortable and safe. Let's give him a gentle pat and maybe a hug. Let's sing Twinkle, Twinkle as our lullaby. Shh, very quiet, don't wake him up. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder gentle pat. Night-night, lion. Really simple. You don't have to do too much. And you'll notice that my lion's blanket was actually a towel. It's great to use whatever you have in your home. You don't need to buy expensive sets of toys. Now I want to go back a bit to back and forth play that I mentioned earlier. I think the easiest way to imagine it is with a ball. You roll a ball along the floor to someone, they catch it, and they roll it back. You can also do this with a car or a truck or really anything on wheels. You can also do it with other turn-taking options that are very simple and appropriate for young children. One I'm going to demonstrate is a drum. You could do it with any sound maker. Here's my drum, and here's my baton, although I could also use my hand if I wanted to. So if it was my turn, I would go. Ready, set, go. Now it's your turn, and you could give the baton to your child and have them try, and then see if they will look at you and give it back and let you try again. What we're looking for is joint attention. We want your child to share with you attention for the same object or activity, and to understand that for it to be more fun, they have to engage with you in a back and forth manner. I have a shaker here that we could also use. You try, and then let your child shake, 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 stop. And when they stop, put your hand out and see if they'll give it back to you so that you can try again. And again, I also advocate for rolling back and forth anything that rolls. It's a great way to take turns and engage together. Taking turns is a building block for building relationships through play. Before we finish up our time together, I want to talk a little bit about what you could do if you have concerns and when might be an appropriate time to be concerned about your child's social emotional development. I recommend highly that you check in with your pediatrician if you notice that your child is behind in meeting their milestones by several months. For example, if they are not responding to their name or engaging in any back and forth play by the time that it's appropriate, it might be worth checking in. Another reason to check in with your pediatrician would be if you notice that your child is having extreme difficulty or excessive tantrums during certain times of day or certain transitions. As a parent, you know your child best and are best able to judge if they're just upset or if it's more than that, and they might need a little extra help in one area or another. I also encourage you to track your child's progress if they attend daycare or preschool. Check in frequently with their daycare provider or teacher and ask about how they're doing. Ask questions about how they do after you drop them off. Do they become very upset? Or are they able to make that transition and calm down easily? How do they react when presented with new or different activities? What is their interest in their peers? What are their interactions like with their peers? The answers may change on a daily or weekly basis, but asking them regularly and keeping the conversation open will allow you to notice patterns with what is happening and see areas where your child might be excelling or areas where they might need a little bit more support and practice. Overall, trust your intuition, and as a parent, I think you will know if it's time to seek extra help or if it's okay. I hope this presentation has been helpful for you and you feel more confident in engaging your child in play activities that will help support their social emotional development. Take care.